Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. Here is our co-host, Irv. We back at it again with another episode here on Recap Monday for Season 6, episode number 25 on the Fire Sports Pod. I'm powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. And let's get right into the show, guys. So we just wrapped up the AFC and NFC Championship games last night. What games there were, we're going to be going over in detail. What were the four takeaways according to Bleacher Report, and then we'll give a little bit of a twist on what we think is going to be coming towards the Super Bowl on February 9th between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles yet again. So we're going to be going over that. Our second segment, Irv's got this one. We're going to be going over some NBA trades that could be coming our way, some just speculation on where teams might be looking to get some valuable assets, some big-time superstars might be on the move. And then third and finally, we'll be going over some coaching changes / hirings for the Chicago Bears, the Seattle Seahawks, the New York Jets, and the Detroit Lions, as well as the Cowboys might be adding somebody that I am going to absolutely go crazy if we add because we're going to suck on defense. But other than that, we're going to be moving on. Let's start with the AFC and NFC Championship games. So, first up, Eagles won 55-23. Kansas City won 32-29. Both of them are back in the Super Bowl for the second time in the last 3 freaking years. It's been a good season. It's been a great season so far in the NFL. I think it's been fantastic to see where we're at and where we've come from, and now it's already the Super Bowl. It feels like just the last week, the first 2 weeks of the season just ended, and now we're looking at the Super Bowl. So here on your screen, guys, you can see the NFL 2025 NFC and AFC Championship game takeaways before Eagles versus Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. So, as we know, Saquon is just the X factor in this Super Bowl matchup. If no one has been able to slow down Saquon, he's been absolutely destroying everyone. The Commanders didn't have an answer as the Eagles ground attack, giving up 232 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns last night. 7 touchdowns on 232 yards of rushing. They had 55 points. That goes with 35. That's a lot of points. That's 49 of their 55 points. That's pretty crazy.
And Zach, if I can add real quick, that's also, I think, the most points in their franchise history, or second amount in franchise history or playoff history. I'm not too sure.
It's playoff history. I think it's
playoff history.
It's the most ever in playoff history. The combined score.
That's that they a lot of belt to ass there.
Yeah, most definitely. On top of that, you had Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback coming in. I'm going to call it again. You guys think I'm crazy. You guys can go back on the podcast during the summer when I had my boy Ian on, when I had multiple people on. I was saying the same thing. Jaden Daniels is going to be the best quarterback out of his draft class, and we saw it this year. Again, we say C.J. Stroud last year when he was a rookie came out, and I said I liked what C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to do well. But he didn't make it to the NFC Championship or the AFC Championship game. Jaden Daniels did. And to be honest, his entire team fumbled the bag. Literally.
Oh, yeah.
They were the reason why they lost that game. They had 5 turnovers. Scratch the 1 interception from Jaden Daniels at the end. That was just throwing up a prayer to
he just threw it up. He just threw it up.
I don't count him. He didn't have no turnovers. You're counting 4 turnovers. 1 by Austin Eckler. 1 by a tight end. The other by a freaking by the return guy. I mean, it was absolutely
a lot of fumbles.
Ridiculous.
A lot of fumbles.
It's just nuts. And you're talking about every possession. The first fumble on the kickoff. The Philly just scored. They were going to go down. They were having the momentum, Washington, and Philly got it, scored a touchdown. Then they still had a chance. It was 7-3. And they fumbled the ball before that. Again. And then in the second half, it was 34-23. Jaden Daniels and Washington are driving down the field. We still got like 2 minutes left in the third. Still a great game. And you know what happens? Fumbled the ball. Austin Eckler. And that was it. After that, the game was absolutely over. They did not score a point. After that fumble, they were stuck at 23, and Philly ran up to 55. In the grand scheme of things, guys, Washington, Jaden Daniels did not lose that game. His entire team did. His entire team did not come to play. His defense did try to do what they could do. But again, you're versing Philly. You got the three-headed monster of A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts. And you can only hope to contain. And they had a shot. They did. But they just kept turning the damn football over. And that was just it. So that was the NFC side of things. Now, the Commanders' rebuild year opened their Super Bowl window way ahead of schedule. Did anybody think in the world that Jaden Daniels and Washington were going to be in this situation? Hell no. Did I think they were going to make the playoffs? Yes, because of Jaden Daniels. I didn't think they were going to go to the NFC Championship game, and if it wasn't for 4 freaking turnovers, 4 fumbles, they would have had a shot to win this game, and what I think would have been one of the first rookies to make the Super Bowl. So it would have been crazy to see. Now, Eagles offense has left the nest, and it's ready to fly high in Super Bowl 59. This is going to be a tough matchup for Kansas City. Why? Because the three-headed monster I just named a couple minutes ago. It's not to mention, I really don't care. I just think that as long as you keep somewhat contained, if you want to let Saquon do all his crap, you can let Saquon. But the point of the matter is that you got Patrick Mahomes there. The X factor I told you, Irv, in the beginning of the podcast is Saquon. If Saquon runs for over 200 or overruns over 150 yards and has multiple touchdowns, the Chiefs are going to lose this game. They need to hold him with under 150 yards and only 1 touchdown. He had 3 touchdowns last night with 113 yards. That can't happen. And I think Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, that's going to be his game plan. If he stops Saquon, he gives his team a shot to win the Super Bowl and goes for the 3-peat. Now, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs are equipped to make history. I'm sorry. I told you in last week's podcast when we were on Irv that whoever wins this game was going to win the Super Bowl. And I truly believe, no matter if it was the Bills or the Chiefs, I thought both of these teams were basically the Super Bowl winners once they won. And that is why I'm taking the Chiefs. Just the Mahomes era is just absolutely ridiculous. He is doing things that not even Tom Brady did at this age and at this time. So I'm taking Mahomes all day, every day. Now, this is a little bit of a replay on what happened on 4th down and 5, which was, 2 minutes left, 4th down and 5. Buffalo's got 3 timeouts. You got to go for it, right? This is where Kincaid fumbled the bag for Josh Allen. It was a wobbler. Should he have called it? Yes. But my God, dude, it was pretty bad. You got to catch this if you're a tight end. Sorry. Just sorry. If you're a tight end, you must catch this ball. Okay. Right here. Hold on.
It's not showing on the screen.
What do you mean?
Like you click play and everything?
Oh, it's not? Okay, wait.
Yeah, no, it's not showing on the screen.
Oh, well, that sucks. Oh, that's because it jumped to another it jumped to Twitter. That's why.
Twitter.
Yep. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah.
All right, so look, guys.
Time here, Jim. Whole season for Buffalo on the line here. There they come. He just desperately.
Right here, guys. Right here. I mean, I could get another replay. I think everyone has seen the replay. Kincaid had it in his hand.
He throws it up in the air.
You got to catch that.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of when we saw the replay is going to show that he had it right here, and then the ball just right there on his forearm.
It was right here, forearm. Right here. It would roll right off the
easily could have caught it like that, but
it's a tough catch. It's a tough catch.
It's a tough catch, but the fact that Allen was actually able to get that ball out, especially with the rush coming to him like that, I think that play should have happened, in my opinion.
It would have been cool. At least you guarantee a field goal and goes to overtime.
Yeah. I mean, although, and then we're gonna just to dial back also. I think that the the Bills just have bad luck against the Chiefs. I just think, I mean, this is Josh Allen is 0-4 against the Chiefs in the postseason, and career-wise, he's 4-5, so he's already in the negatives with that. So I don't know. This is definitely a big hump for Josh Allen because I feel like he might end up maybe like Lamar Jackson, where he gets the accolades, he gets the in-season MVP, he gets the best team in the NFL season. I mean the NFL regular season, but just can't cross the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs have arguably been the best team coming out of the AFC for I think the past 5 seasons, five seasons that Patrick Mahomes has been there, and every single time that they go up against the Bills or even the Ravens, they always beat those teams, and these teams are not scrubs. These teams are actually good teams.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So that I got the Pat McAfee show here in the left corner because I'm watching ESPN.
Yeah,
they're replaying the 4th down and 1, and there was 12 minutes and 55 seconds. People out there that keep saying because of the 4th down they lost that game, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no.
There's no way. There's almost 13 full minutes in the 4th quarter, and you're down 1 point, and you gave the ball to Patrick Mahomes on the 42-yard line of theirs. That is utterly retarded. I'm sorry. I understand you got to make those plays, but you have a defense that has been putting good pressure on him in the second half and has held them to no points in the second half. Why the hell? Because remember, they had 21 points going into halftime. We're entering the 4th quarter. They still have 21. So Buffalo's momentum was going. Why not give it back to your defense? Have Patrick Mahomes go the length of the football field, and if he scores a touchdown, then you clap your hands to him. But the fact that you went for it on 4th down, and you're going to say, all these people in these comments on TikTok or whatever, the refs, they gave it to him, Nonetheless, if it was a 1st down or not, you still had 13 whole freaking minutes to win the game. And you had a chance with 2 to play to win the game. And you couldn't get the job done.
I mean, in that particular situation, bro, I feel like they just needed to go for it. I mean, it was 4th and 1. Josh, they have done this in the past where they'll do the simple, where he said, "Hut, boom," and then drive straight in. I mean, it worked. Josh Allen leaping over for that 1st down. It worked throughout the game. When it was 4th and 1,
he fumbled the one that he leaped over. He got the ball back. He fumbled another ball in Kansas City's territory. He picks it up with one hand. So I'm sorry. I get it, and I agree with you in certain moments. But that moment, you have the momentum on defense. There's no need to give a momentum swing to Kansas City by going for it on 4th and 1. And now you give the ball back to the best man on the planet, and he walks down your defense and scores the
and also I wouldn't have not called that play call. I mean, I know I get it. Like I just said, I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit because I am saying that you did it already 2 times and it kind of worked. I mean, there was fumble, but it was fumble recoveries, and so it kind of worked. But if I was in their shoes, I would not trust my defense. I'm sorry, but the Bills defense, like I've been saying throughout the regular season, throughout the postseason, that the Bills defense is not a good defense. So would I have gone for the kick? Probably if I didn't trust my defense. But I think this was all I guess off of instinct and off of trust, because I think the Bills were going to prepare themselves for, let's say, Josh Allen, because like you said, the momentum was on the defensive side. So I think what was going on through the head coaches, the coordinators' heads, do we trust our defense enough to stop Patrick Mahomes if we can't cross this line? And I think this was ultimately a decision that was made by the coaches. And if I was in their shoes, I wouldn't trust my defense. The defense has been really bad against top tier teams in the regular season. They only won by like a couple of points, and these are high scoring games. These are it's like 42-40 or 36-32. Like there's just been like the Buffalo's defense has not been consistently good. So in my opinion, was that the correct play call? Probably because it worked. It worked already two out of the 2 times that they tried it. Would I have trusted defense if I was in their shoes? No, I would have probably kicked it, played it safe, and have like at least a little bit of breathing room. Because you said they were tied or they were up by 1.
They were up
tied,
by
right?
1. It was 4th and 1 on Kansas City's 40. You kick that ball to the back of the end zone or kick it to pin them in the back inside the 10. You have your defense play it out the full length of the football field. You go for it. You're putting all your trust in your defense, but you're giving that man, Patrick Mahomes, 45 yards, 55 yards, 60 yards to score a touchdown. And he scored that like this. So I'm sorry. I just don't get it. They scored that touchdown under 4 minutes. They went right down that freaking field. So I don't know. Yeah. But the sneak peek to the Eagles versus Chiefs Super Bowl, I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a high-scoring Super Bowl and all that crap. I really do think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. But I think no matter what, I'm going to go on a limb here. We'll go into more detail later on. But the Chiefs, dude, you got to be able to stop that man, Patrick Mahomes. And as that game was getting closer and closer and closer, and when Josh Allen went up 22-21, I was like, me and my dad and my good friend, family friend Tom, were both said, this is a perfect game for Mahomes. He's going to do it again. And he did it again. He did it again. He put his team in place to score the game-winning field goal. And on top of that, they had to go for it on 3rd down and 15. It was a long-ass 3rd down 15. Picks it up. Yeah, they stopped him for a field goal. And I was like, all right, now it's up to Chris Jones and Spagnuolo and that defense to get a stop. And they did. So
and Spagnuolo has been doing this for many years. I mean, he's to me, I think he's
coordinator in the league. That's how
I mean, he's been the best. He's been, I think, the most successful defensive coordinator in NFL history because I think he already won, I believe, 5 Super Bowls.
I'm not so sure, so I gotta fact check
because he won. I think it's 4 because he won 1 with the Giants and then he won 3 with the Chiefs.
You might be right. You might be right.
So he's one of the most successful defensive coordinators in the NFL history. So, let's see. I mean, it's going to be a defensive battle. You have, Eagles, the best regular season defense in the NFL and probably the postseason. I mean, they showed it against the teams that they played against a defense where they stopped the likes of Josh Allen. Probably MVP favorite, maybe MVP winner. Stopped that Bills defense. Have been so dominant during the regular season. It's going to be a very defensive battle, but it's also going to be a high scoring game because these two offenses are just insane. You got Patrick Mahomes, you have Kelsey, you have what was the name? Pacho, the running back. You have Pacheco. Yeah, we got Pacheco. Then you have, the wide receiver. I mean, Mahomes just makes everyone around him just better. You know what I mean? Like it's Juju Smith, but I mean, he's not a scrub, but I'm just saying like he hasn't been like Steelers.
They got DeAndre Hopkins. They had
DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins, first time he's ever in a Super Bowl. He's been in the year for like over a decade, bro. It's been ridiculous. But we got to get to the NBA stuff. And I'm gonna give it to you, Irv, for the next 5 or so minutes until you got to get off, and then I'll end up the show myself.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right. So just real quick. There has been a lot of talks about the trade deadline in the NBA about to be over in just less than a week now or close to like a week now. So we have obviously the rumors. We have Bradley Beal rumors to leave the Suns, and then you also have Jimmy Butler as well. And there's a lot of teams that are finalizing their positions as potential buyers or sellers. And then the trade rumors are still heating up. With the 2 biggest names right now in the NBA market, you have Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler. Now, Zach and I have been talking about it throughout the podcast that, that the Suns are purposely sitting and lessening Bradley Beal's minutes so they could basically kick him out. And the one spot so far that he's been open to was Milwaukee. And now the Jimmy Butler situation, we've also had where the Heat suspended Jimmy Butler because of how he's been acting, because of him not having the willingness to play with the Heat, and him ultimately saying that, listen, I do not want to play here anymore. I want to go to Phoenix. I want to go anywhere else. He also said, jokingly, I don't know, jokingly, I know Jimmy's a serious person, but he did say that he wanted to go anywhere but Memphis Grizzlies. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, though, so Jimmy just wants out. He really wants out. Now, in order for this to be possible, though, Bradley Beal's contract is extremely expensive. I believe it's 1 year for $60 million. And I'm sorry, but I don't think the Bucks or the Heat can afford that type of. I mean, obviously they probably can, but they're not going to afford $60 million for 1 year for a person who's, one, injury prone, two, hasn't been the same, in my opinion, since he left Washington. And I don't know, Zach. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think? How can it be possible for Bradley Beal to go to another team, to a Bucks, or possibly maybe, I don't know. There's been talks about going to Chicago for Zach LaVine. Like, how can that work? Can a team really afford a $60 million contract for 1 year for Bradley Beal?
It depends on if he could stay healthy, because we all know when Bradley Beal's healthy, man can ball. He's a baller. I loved him on the Wizards. I thought he was great. Him and John Wall back then, the throwback year. He was a monster. And he still can ball. He could give you an average of 20 a game, between 18, 20 a game. He can still do that. And he's a good player. He knows how to play the game of basketball. He's a great leader. The problem is he's just injury prone. He's not a bad guy. He's not a cancer in the locker room. The only reason why Phoenix wants him out is because his contract's ridiculous and he keeps getting injured. He's never on the floor. So, again, who knows? We've had this talks about load management. We've had this talks about injury, and all this bull crap with Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, all this crap. You never know what's happening inside the organization. We don't know. Not a lot of people know unless you're inside that organization.
Literally, you're like inside.
Or you're in Bradley Beal's mind, or you're in his family or his inner circle. You're not going to know. But for my grand scheme of things, I would say that, is it worth it for the Bucks to pick up Bradley Beal? I would say yeah. Why? Now I'm going to tell you why. You got Dame, you got Bradley, you got Giannis. You would take out Chris Middleton. I'm sorry, Chris Middleton's great, but his injury for the last 2 years has been ridiculous. Bad. He's been missing like over 40 games. Like, Bradley Beal is lingering injuries because of all the thing, but he doesn't have to do all the crap that he had to do in Washington. And remember, when Devin Booker or when Kevin Durant was hurt, it was him and Devin Booker that had to do all the work. When Devin Booker was hurt for a little bit, it was Bradley Beal that had to do all the work. Excuse me. So what I'm saying is that he doesn't have to do everything. He can be that third. Jesus Christ. He can be that third option in Milwaukee. Similar to what he is in Phoenix, but you could see Giannis he's had almost 12 assists a game. He's averaging almost 10 assists a game. This guy's a person that can go up for 70. But he is still able to make his teammates better. Dame, he's not that ball hog, I'm the guy all the damn time. He's more of becoming an actual point guard now and really facilitating the ball, but still dropping 25 a game.
Yeah.
You could deal with a 12 to 15, 18 game night from Bradley Beal all day. 60 mil, I don't know about that. That's going to be tough. Maybe you do like a package where you have Phoenix pay some of the money, Milwaukee pay some of the money, something like that in those type of ways. But I don't know. To be honest, do I see Milwaukee doing it? Nah, not really. They're actually doing really well. Do I see Chicago doing it? Yeah, because they're dumb as hell. Chicago.
And so talking about Chicago. So in these trade rumors, as you can tell, I don't know if maybe you heard it. I've been hearing it all over my Instagram, all over my Twitter, that Chicago are potentially trying to but trying to see what they could get for Zach LaVine. Now, Zach LaVine has been balling. He's been dropping a little 30 bombs here, 30 bombs there, averaging roughly, I think, 20, 23 points around that margin. He's been doing good. So some teams that there has been, I believe, according to CBS Sports, that there could be potential deal with a 5-team deal where Phoenix can acquire Butler, Milwaukee can land Levine, and Miami receives a package centered around Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis. And the fifth team, and then the 15 could potentially get a bunch of smaller like contracts or
where would
picks.
Bradley Beal go? Stay in Phoenix?
So however, like it would seem like he would probably stay in Phoenix or probably go to Chicago. That would be the deal.
Probably Chicago.
That would be the deal where he would go to Chicago.
I don't mind that. I think that works out for everyone.
So,
why Chicago will use Bradley Beal is because you still have Lonzo. You give him a second guard that can actually score the basketball. Not saying Kobe White can't score, but I like him coming off the bench, Kobe White, even though he's been bona fide a real good player, but he's already coming off the bench. You get Lonzo, you get Bradley Beal together, you add back, you get Bradley Beal. Now you got a bit of a squad. When you get into the draft, they're going to have a high draft because they've been sucking this year. And then in free agency, they'll bring on some players in the offseason. So, but then Milwaukee getting Levine, I think it's phenomenal. I think you pair him with Giannis.
That would, in my personal opinion,
that would take them. That would put them up with Cleveland and Boston.
Yeah,
they have runners up to beat both of those teams. Because if you pair Levine with Giannis and Dame, on that with Dame. Doc as the coach, I'm telling you. They become title contenders, and they might become title favorites.
Yeah, and then also and another thing that you have to play the factor is that Levine averaging plus 20 points, while Beal is only averaging close to 17, and then you also have to play in the fact that Beal's defense and his injuries, they're not really up there.
Levine's young.
Levine's young. He's athletic. So if somehow you can pair Levine with Giannis and with Dame, that right there will be a trio, because they talk about, oh yeah, trios in the East. You got Mitchell, who else? Garland and Mobley. Then you have the Celtics trio. No. You have to talk about this trio, because this trio right here will absolutely dominate the East, I think. Do they have the likes to beat maybe the Celtics and the Cavs? That's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
But I'll lean more towards, obviously Boston or Cleveland. But they still would be a top 3 team in the East.
Now, the Suns getting Jimmy Butler. I think we had this discussion earlier. I know you got to go, so I'll make this quick. I think Jimmy Butler will be a good fit because of the physicality, the grit, the guy that really,
and the defense.
And get that defense a really good and good core defense. But it's going to be the same situation. You got 3 mother fluppers that want the damn basketball. It's not going to work. The only reason why it worked in Phoenix with CP3, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton is because CP3 was going to pass the ball to Devin Booker. Devin Booker was the number 1 scorer. DeAndre Ayton was a soft ass that would just grab rebounds and give you 15 to 10 a game. And that's all you needed. That's why they got to the finals. And they surrounded everybody with shooters and good defenders.
Mikal, Jay Crowder.
Kobe. They surrounded everybody with good defenders and good shooters. Where that's why they were able to make that run to the finals. Why Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and CP3, or Devin Booker, Durant, and freaking Bradley Beal wasn't going to work is because both Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal deal with injuries. One, Bradley Beal's always hurt. They have never really played together on the same basketball court for more than 20 games for the last 2 years that they've been together. I just think Jimmy Butler will be the only consistent guy with Devin Booker. Would I love to see Devin Booker and Jimmy Butler together playing side by side? Yeah. Would I love to see Kevin Durant? I think it would be mesh. Will they become instant title contenders? No, in the West, because the West is so top heavy, but they will definitely be in the playoffs, and they would solidify a spot as one of the top 6 seeds. Well, I think they give other teams a run for their money. Hell yeah, because they got 3 potential Hall of Famers in Kevin Durant. Well, one, without a doubt, Kevin Durant. Devin Booker is on his way. And Jimmy Butler has done enough to put himself in that category. So it'll be nice to see. I think all teams win in this trade. I think this is the best trade for every team and every side. I think it would work out for best. Chicago's stupid. They'll take on a $60 million contract. They'll let go Levine because they're retarded. Milwaukee will bring on a monster that they need definitely to really put themselves over the top and in that category of the top tiers in the East. Jimmy Butler will get to Phoenix. Phoenix will be a monster. But again, they'll be too top heavy, so they won't last too long in the playoffs against good teams and overall good teams. And then Miami will get picks and draft picks, which they desperately need, and maybe some young players to bend with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. So everybody wins. Miami gets their future. Phoenix gets the win now mode. Milwaukee gets a younger star and another win now mode. And Chicago gets a player that they can pair with Lonzo, and they take on a monster contract, but at least they don't have that many big max players, so they could take that on, that contract. And not to mention they got Vucevic too, which who could be on the move come trade deadline. They've been talking about him maybe going to LA, the Lakers. Yusuf Nurkic should be on the move. So there's a lot of people that's still on the move. So we'll have a lot more to talk about in the coming week, in coming days, and coming weeks. But I know Irv's got to get off for another meeting.
Yeah.
We'll say sayonara to Irv, our co-host. Appreciate him jumping on the podcast as well as again. And we're going to be continuing what we got to do with coaching changes. But I appreciate it, Irv. Have fun in your meeting, and I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, here we go. So we are now going to move to our final segment, and that's going to be the segment with our coaching changes. I appreciate you guys staying on with us. Irv was awesome. The NBA trade talk was great. The NBA free agents, the NBA trade deadline was awesome. So let's get right into what we got to talk about when it comes to the NFL and where we got. So we're just going to go over some sports stories. Chicago Bears. They're adding dashes of experience and youth to the first-year head coach of Ben Johnson's staff. The Bears are hiring the former New Orleans Saints head coach Dennis Allen as their next defensive coordinator and former Denver Broncos tight ends coach Dalclon Doyle as their offensive coordinator. NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero reported on Sunday, per sources. Allen, who is 52, most recently served as the head coach of the Saints from the start of the 2022 season until he was fired after the Saints' Week 9 loss. He also previously was a head coach with the Oakland Raiders from 2012 to 2014. So he's got some head coaching experience. To have him as the defensive coordinator is big. We'll see how well Ben Johnson and his staff do this year with Caleb Williams and the Chicago's offense and defense. We'll see. Now, our next one, Seattle Seahawks, look to an NFC foe for their next offensive coordinator. The Seahawks are hiring Saints assistant Clint Kubiak as their next OC. NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, and Mike Garfolio reported on Sunday. Per sources, Seattle later confirmed the news. Kubiak joins Mike McDonald's staff after spending the last year in the same role in the New Orleans Saints. With no one guarantee that the Saints' next head coach, who is yet to be hired after Dennis Allen's midseason firing, would keep him on staff, Kubiak has instead found a new home in the Pacific Northwest. So Seattle gets better, getting a new OC for McDonald and his staff, which they desperately needed after losing their OC. So that's the Seahawks news. Now we go to the Jets. They have found their head coach in Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. He's going to be the next head coach of the Jets. We had that news last week. And then 3 days after hiring the new head coach, the Jets agreed to terms with Doran Mulkey to become the new team's GM. NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, and Michael Foley reported Saturday. Per sources, New York has since announced the hiring. Doran is trusted NFL executive who has experience working with an impressive collection of football leaders. The Jets chairman, Woody Johnson, and in a statement released by the team, he's a proven talent elevator who impressed us in the vision for his team. So they got themselves a new GM, a new head coach. Everything's looking pretty for the Jets. We'll see how well they do this coming season. And then we have the Lions, who are looking within for their replacement of Aaron Glenn. They're going to their offensive line coach, No, linebackers coach. Detroit is promoting their linebackers coach, Kelvin Shepard, to become the new defensive coordinator. Again, their defense was really bad last year because of so many injuries. Aiden Hutchinson, they had like 18 guys going into that Washington Commanders playoff game, which they eventually lost. Defense gave up a lot of points, but it really was because their offense had 4 turnovers in that game. You can't have 4 turnovers and expect your defense to be able to stay in it out all the time. So they're hiring their linebackers coach to be the next defensive coordinator. I think it's a good move. They're staying in the system. That linebackers coach was able to learn from Aaron Glenn, so hopefully they can implement some different options, and hopefully they don't have 18 guys on the freaking IR come playoff time. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. The last one that I have to tell you guys is going over the Cowboys, who have reportedly expected to hire former Bears coach Matt Eberflus as the new defensive coordinator. I don't know what the hell we're doing. Again, the Cowboys making some stupid-ass decisions. This guy was had one of the worst defenses in Chicago. I don't know why we're doing this. We got Brian Schoonehammer as our head coach. We got him as our defensive coordinator. It's just a mess. And the Cowboys are just kill me. Every freaking year, they just get worse and worse and worse. We'll see how well this happens. We'll see what we got to do in the future, but not looking forward to this season. It looks like it's going to be a shit show. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for the show here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. We just had on our co-host, Irv. Appreciate him jumping on. We appreciate all you guys and all the support out there. We have 1K videos already. We got 166 subscribers. Keep subscribing. Keep hitting that like button. Keep hitting that share button. Don't forget to check out the TikTok on the Fire Sports Pod _2.0, as well as the Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, where you can find that at the Fire Sports Pod. You can find that in my bio, so check that out. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. We'll be having my professor Keith Green come on the show at 2:30 on Wednesday for another episode for season 6, episode number 26. Guys, this is season 6, episode number 25 here on Recap Monday. Hope you guys enjoyed the AFC and NFC championship games. I know I did. We'll see you guys on Wednesday for another Fire podcast. Peace out, guys.